Hey guys, this is Matt. I just wanted to do I want to do a mental health video. It's probably going to be one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life, for sure. But at the same time, it's something I feel passionate about, and it's something I feel like could help a lot of people. So I'm just going to go ahead and uh, just give some background about my story and struggles with OCD, and just a little bit of background. So I also have some like bullet points I want to check off on. Got my laptop right here because sometimes it's hard to just process what I want to say. So OCD, it's a condition that affects 1 in 40 people. So that's roughly like 2.3% of our population. So it affects 2.3% of our population at some point in their life. Um, it consists of two parts. It's the obsession, which often we associate as a thought, and it's the compulsion, which is the truck. And it's the compulsion, the behavior that you do to relieve the anxiety. Um, I just wanted to note with this that the compulsion behavior is something individuals with OCD they do in an effort to relieve anxiety, but it doesn't work like that. It's just something we try to do, but it kind of keeps the cycle going, and it's just part of the disorder. Uh, some compulsions for people will look like washing your hands, straightening objects, praying, counting items, staring, tapping. I mean, the list can go on and on because it's just a very long list of stuff. Uh, but those are just a couple to mention. So trying to figure out where I want to go from here. So the core struggle with OCD is that the behaviors and compulsions are something you feel like you absolutely need to do. Um, Sometimes it may not seem logical to do them, but you do it anyway. And for some, it can be further complicated because there you may think that there is a little bit of logic to your fear, and so you fall through with the compulsion. So really my story of OCD started around age, let's say 14, 15. So I remember being in school and having an assignment to read. It was a novel, Hiroshima. I remember to this day how much it affect how much that book affected me. Uh, I mean, obviously the content, but also um, just I just struggled getting through the book. I didn't know how to combat my anxiety. Uh, I didn't know much about OCD at the time. I mean, I knew a little bit, but I wanted to understand everything in that book, and I knew I couldn't achieve it, but I wanted to. So I kept rereading certain lines until, like lines, text in the book until it felt right. So that was my compulsion. So if it didn't feel right, I had to start over. And sometimes it took me 15 minutes to get through 2 pages of that novel. Um, so it was definitely it was a really difficult process getting through school, getting through that book, and then from there it progressed into studying and taking tests and quizzes, everything in school. I remember some nights I would study for 4 or 5 hours. Um, it was really difficult because I noticed a lot of people around me were, or I felt like they were enjoying life and they weren't so focused on school. Like they would spend like just a little bit time studying, but I just felt like I couldn't control it, so I kept studying and studying, um, and that took a toll on me. Um, but I was praised in school. I mean, a lot of people didn't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes. Some did, but I was praised. It's like, oh, look at these good grades. You're doing awesome. It's like, but uh, that was just from like some people. Um, so my OCD took on different themes. Sometimes I dealt with multiple themes at a single point. I would wash my hands. There was a period where I was I would wash my hands so much that they would crack and bleed, and I did that because I had a fear of getting sick, and I had an irrational fear of contracting HIV and AIDS. So when they would crack and bleed as a result of my washing, I was then concerned that I would get like the germs, the blood, or would get into my cuts. So I so I feared for my health many days, and I obsessed about getting sick, and I thought I would contract HIV, and then and then AIDS, and sometimes I feared I would get sick and not know until it was too late. So logic kind of went out the door when the anxiety was really bad, and it was something that was really difficult for me. I know I'm going to say that a lot, but I'm still trying to get across what I want to say here. But just because I have a lot to my story, but I would talk I would talk to friends and family, and I would have them reassure me I was okay, that everything was going to be fine. This was me doing a compulsion. It was my behavior, and to try to relieve my anxiety, I felt like I had to get it out. Um, Naturally, they were supportive, and they said, "Yeah, I mean, of course you'll be fine." They were concerned, but they're like, "Yeah, yeah, you're gonna be fine. Why don't worry about it? No, it's not really logical. Why are you worried about it?" Uh, so this, brought my anxiety down a little bit until the next thought popped in and kind of, you know, sent me on a loop. Um, so it just became a cycle of anxiety and seeking reassurance from other people on various things, on a lot of different things. There came a time where my OCD theme took on driving, and this is really difficult for me to talk about, so I'm just letting you guys know. just talking about this is like really. So I knew I was a safe driver, but the thoughts told me otherwise. The thoughts would tell me while I was driving, I would cause a chain reaction accident. The thoughts said maybe while driving at night, I may have caught someone off guard, or I may have startled them, and just another car would come along and would crash into them. I knew it wasn't logical. I used to circle back with my car and make sure everything was okay. And, you know, I kept on doing the compulsion. I never felt like it would relieve my anxiety for a little bit. And then when I would get home, I would just burst into tears. And I decided to stop driving in its entirety. I just felt like I couldn't do it. I stopped that. So I felt like because of my anxiety, I isolated but myself from a lot of people. Um, and I would only see people on a limited basis. Because when you discuss this kind of, I felt like if anyone like knew the thoughts that were going on, that they would that they wouldn't understand what was going on, and they would label me. And it's still kind of like an open, a little bit of an open wound, just a little bit, I have to admit. But yeah, I just didn't have many relationships. I didn't have any kind of intimacy in relationships. The thought of being intimate with a potential partner I was interested in brought a lot of fear, and I couldn't control the thoughts, that were, going on. It was just like pinball in my head, and I felt like I couldn't cope, so I decided to avoid. I just, avoid just the whole thing in itself, avoid any relationship. Even though, and I was still trying to work on myself and try to get things figured out. Um, and then when I was 18, I decided to seek a higher level of therapy. I knew therapy that I had before was. Sorry, that's the dog right now. So I knew therapy I had before helped, but it wasn't. You feel lucky. Good. So I knew therapy I had before was helpful, but it wasn't enough for my needs. I felt like I needed a higher level of care. So I went to McLean, a mental health facility in Boston, and I stayed there for 2 months. And I met a lot of people that struggled with the same, well, I mean, some of the same stuff, some different stuff, because OCD is so varied. And I saw a lot of people that were suffering immensely, and I just felt, that connection, like we were like a community, and we were there for one another. And but it was hard. It, I mean, it goes without saying that kind of stuff is like, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone to have to experience that kind of stuff. But I solely focus on myself and engaged in ERP therapy, which is something I will detail in another separate video because I think it deserves its own like attention in itself, you know, because it's a very like my video's already at 15 minutes, so and it's an important topic, an important model of therapy for treating OCD. Um, and when I say treating OCD, I want to like clarify this that there's no cure for OCD, but people with OCD can live very manageable lives. Um, I've gotten massively better, massively, and I still struggle. I still struggle. Um, I still struggle with vulnerability, but I try to push past it. I struggle to talk about this kind of stuff, but I feel like im- it's very important to be talking about this kind of stuff because there are a lot of people out there that may not really know that they have OCD, or there may be friends, family that want to help their loved ones and they really don't know how to. So there's that. Um, I just, you know, I just found like since being in and out of facilities like this that oh my god, 1 second. Hold on. So I just want to say that, you know, I'm very thankful for my providers and family for, you know, he's just being a. You're just doing this for attention, aren't you? Yeah, exactly. Oh, they're both gonna come over here. Gosh. So, I just want to say that, you know, I'm very thankful for my providers, for my family and friends that have helped me and were there for me, and that that they were there just like the whole time through the process, and it definitely means something to me that that I had people that I could rely on. And unfortunately there are many people who suffer that feel like they have no one to turn to, and it's a valid feeling. It's a tough, extremely difficult feeling because I've felt that way, you know. But I just want to I don't know what else I want to say here, but I'm doing better, and I still struggle, but I don't want to go back to that spot, and I won't go back to that spot. So I appreciate you guys for listening, and I will be posting more content about my OCD and just general knowledge and education. So thanks for watching. See ya.